Good morning or good afternoon. Welcome, welcome. Good morning. Hey, Noemi. Thanks for joining. Let me just get my presentation going. You're welcome to use the chat. Hopefully, you can hear me and see me okay. If you're at work, I totally understand. You won't be able to participate, but if you are able to participate, go ahead and put something in the chat box so I know you can hear me and see me. Let me go to my presenter view. Oh, why is this not doing it? Okay, can anyone hear me? Oh, there we go. Thank you. I see it now. Okay, thanks, Noemi. Thanks for listening in while you're at work. I appreciate that. I'm trying to get my presentation to pop up and then I can share my screen here. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Thank you for spending some time with me this morning or this afternoon, depending on where you are. Let me click share. Oh, good. Working from home. Good, good, good. It's not always good though. I work from home and it is not always good, especially during summertime when the kids are home. Mm-mm. Thankfully, they are sleeping in because they were up late. So the house is a little quiet right now. But oof, during summertime, I just want to leave because the kids are home. Okay, share my screen here. All right. So, welcome in. This is 10xing your income, your rental income with co living. Let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb because it's going to be blowing up. And I am Katrina E. Robinson, and I'm so happy that you're here today. Hopefully, can you still see me? I know you can see my slides, but can you still see me? Because sometimes you can't see me. Can you guys still see me? Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right. So, I'm going to talk to you about why co living is the fastest way to increase your rental income right now. Excuse me. So, we're going to talk about traditional rentals versus co living and that income gap, and then also the demand for affordable housing that's just rising and why this model works right now. So today I'll cover the opportunity and the growth, and then also the profit potential and how to open a group home in 6 steps and how to open a group home, excuse me, in 6 weeks. And I'll also give you an invitation to join my startup intensive coaching program, which used to be 6 weeks. Now I've stretched it out to 90 days so that I make sure that you fill your beds. So you've probably been to those master classes where you're just kind of holding your breath and you're waiting for the presenter to hit you with an offer. I will be hitting you with the offer, but that offer is for you to book a call with me. I will give you the link to sign up directly for the self-paced course if you'd like to. But if you want to do the one-on-one coaching, which I call my elite launch program now, the 90-day program, then I will ask for you to book a call with me so we can all stop holding our breath and just take a breath and relax and have something to drink. I wish I had more coffee, but I've just got my water here and we can get right into these slides. All right. So, what is co living? Some people call co living a group home. I used to actually call it a group home because that's what it was called when I first started off. I started studying this back in 2019. And then in 2020, actually, I think it was like December of 2019 is when I opened my first co living or group home. But now in the state of Texas, group homes are actually homes that provide the residents some kind of personal care service that's non-medical. So my homes are actually not group homes, although I call my program group home on autopilot. They're actually co-living homes. And what a co-living home is independent living. That's where you take a single family home and you rent out that home by the bed or by the room. So it could be that you have 2 beds in the room. So you're renting it out by the bed, or you could be renting out the entire room. So instead of renting out the whole house, you rent it out by bed or by room. Also, with a co living home, it's all inclusive. That means all utilities are included in the one rate that the resident pays for their space. So the internet, electricity, gas, and water are covered in the amount that they pay for their monthly rent. A question I get sometimes is, what is the difference between what I do and assisted living? With assisted living, there are services included, and those services help the residents with activities of daily living, ADLs. When I took the Texas Certified Assisted Living Manager training, I learned all about ADLs, activities of daily living. That's toileting, bathing, feeding, medication management. Those are the types of services that require certification. So once you start offering help with ADLs, you must be certified to make sure that you're doing everything in accordance with the law for that resident's safety. What I do in independent co-living is I'm only and there's no non-medical assistance. Assisted living usually has patients, whereas group homes and co living homes have residents or members or tenants. There's a lot of different terms that people use for the people who live in a co living or group home. When someone signs a lease, they are legally a tenant, but I like to use the word resident so it's ingrained in their minds that I can put them out if they break the house rules. So that's why I like to use the word resident, although I do have all of my people sign leases, so that makes them legally tenants. Also, before I continue, put your questions in the chat box. Okay. I'm looking in the chat and I saw this AI assistant. Okay. Put your questions in the chat box if you have any questions throughout this presentation, and I will answer every single question before the end of this. And also, I think I planned this out to be an hour and a half. I usually finish my presentation. I try to finish my presentation within 1 hour, and then the rest of the time is just for Q&A. All right. So, what about people who do need help with their activities of daily living? I can still house those people. That help that they need, though, does not come from my company. That help is outsourced. So, a third party provides that help. And this is where home health agencies come into play. So, if somebody needs help with medication management or feeding, or they need a nurse to give them medication, or they need a helper. Some of the people have insurance that offers provider hours. And with provider hours, that resident can have a family member or a friend come and help them for a few hours a day, and that person is getting paid by insurance. Again, that help is not coming from me or from my company. It is outsourced. So that's why my homes are still able to be unlicensed, because I'm not providing any help with licensed services. Co-living versus multifamily properties. So I do get a lot of people who come to me and say, okay, I have this multifamily unit. I'm going to turn this into co-living. You can turn that into co-living. However, the way I teach it is I want you to have a single family home with at least 4 bedrooms and at least 2 bathrooms that you're going to turn into co-living, because all of the common areas are shared by the people who live in that house. And so you have lower maintenance costs than in a multifamily. In a multifamily, you have multiple addresses. So you have multiple addresses, multiple kitchens, multiple living rooms. You have multiple bills for everything. Whereas the way I teach this, it's a single family home that you're breaking up and renting out the different rooms, but everybody is sharing in the electric bill, the water bill, etc. Okay. And also with the way I teach this with co-living, you earn 10 times the amount of a regular rental. And I'm going to show you that in some slides that are coming up. Okay, I thought I saw a question come in. Okay, so you provide the content. Yes, Doris, thank you for saying that. I'm glad that you joined, even though you have to jump early. Excuse me, I will put my contact information in right now. So, Angelica, if you're on the line, can you please put my book a call with me link in the chat box right now so that Doris will have it before she has to jump. Thanks, Doris. Okay, so the outlook on the business. Whenever you get into any kind of business, you want to make sure that it's something that's going to be sustainable, something that is going to continue to grow, and something you can continue to do. Unless you want something that's just like a flash in the pan, I didn't want that. I wanted something that was going to bring me extra money. And I've always been interested in real estate, by the way. But anyhow, I wanted to maximize my income from real estate. So this slide shows you why co-living is poised for growth. Number one, the aging baby boomer population. 10,000 baby boomers turn 65 years old every day. And that trend is going to continue through the year 2030. So that means that in the year 2030, 1 in 5 Americans will be 65 or older. Most of those, well, not most, many of those will need supportive housing, but not all of them are going to need full-scale assisted living. And you have to remember, assisted living costs on average $4,500 to $6,000 a month, which prices out many adults. Not everybody needs a nursing home or $5,000 a month assisted living facility. Many of these people just need a safe, stable, shared living space. And that's where group homes step in. And that demand is only rising. And then we all know about the housing affordability crisis. It truly is a crisis. Rent and home prices are skyrocketing. So shared housing is the only affordable option for a lot of low-income adults, even working professionals. 55% of low-income renters spend more than 30% of their income on housing. So shared housing isn't just about making more income, it's solving a real housing problem. And cities need this model. And then we have the decline in private room supply. So new construction does not favor affordable shared housing. New construction favors luxury or large single-family homes. I actually went to a pad split presentation and they presented this statistic that the housing supply we need already exists. They said that 7.3 million affordable homes could be created from 1% of the current existing housing. And there are already 137 million spare bedrooms in the United States alone. So as private housing costs rise, room rentals and co-living offers a scalable solution, and landlords who make this pivot to co-living, to the co-living model, they can really benefit by making 10 times as much money on their houses and providing affordable housing to people. And then lastly, we have social isolation and mental health. So adults with mental challenges or disabilities or substance recovery needs, those people often thrive in these structured, shared environments. So co-living homes give them community and not just a roof over their head. So there's a lot of power in this model. Excuse me. This model meets a real need in society. Plus, 1 in 4 adults in the United States lives with a disability or a mental health condition. So when you combine all of these different reasons, say aging demographics, housing, group homes are not just a trend, they're actually the future. So people who get in on the ground floor, which is like right now, somebody the other day called me a pioneer, it made me feel old, but people who get in now in this co-living are able to really benefit. Can you guys still see my slides? Because I have a thing on my screen that says that my internet is unstable. So I'm not sure if you guys can still see my slides or not, but I'm going to press on. Thank you, Noemi. Okay, so why should you even listen to me? My name is Katrina E. Robinson. I have 3 co-living homes in San Antonio, Texas, but I actually live in Los Angeles, California. So people started asking me to help them to open their own group homes. And now I help future group home operators to start and run their own group homes so they can create a profitable and purpose-driven business without getting overwhelmed by the process. And how did I get into this? So 5 years, actually 6 years ago now, I was looking for something to do on the side of my day job that would bring me the most profit with the least amount of work. It is not because I don't like to work hard. I actually am a workaholic and I'm used to hard work. I was in the military for 6 years. I've been to Iraq. I've seen the world. I wanted to just live my best life in California on the beach. So I decided that what I would do is continue to invest in real estate because I'd been investing in real estate, but I wanted to maximize my profit on that real estate. So I went to an assisted living training, went to this in-person training. And back then, I think it was like $4,000. I learned a lot, but I also found out that I needed to continue and do more training to become a certified assisted living manager for my state, because this training was just on the business itself and how to run a residential assisted living business. So I went through the certification process for both Texas and California because I was stationed in Texas for many years. My parents live in Texas. And so I didn't know if I wanted to open in Texas or if I wanted to open in California. Plus, Texas properties are so much cheaper than in California. Then, fast forward, after I got those certifications, I was this close to buying an existing assisted living business when unfortunately I lost my sister. My sister passed away unexpectedly, and I got custody of her two daughters. Now, mind you, I'm living on the beach. I was living on Redondo Beach in a one-bedroom apartment, living my best life, single and no children on purpose. So at that point, I didn't want any added responsibility to my life because I was already being thrown into becoming a Monty, a mom auntie at the last minute. So anyway, I didn't want any added responsibility of now having this assisted living house because I knew that I would need a cook and I would need a nurse on payroll. So I pulled out of that deal. During that option period, I pulled out of that deal to buy this existing assisted living facility. When I pulled out of that deal, I was pretty sad about it. I was devastated. And a friend of mine asked me, well, why don't you get into independent living? And I said, what is that? She said, it's unlicensed group homes. I had never heard of that before. And I immediately said, I'm not doing anything illegal because I thought unlicensed meant illegal. But once I learned what it really was, I bought a fixer-upper property in Texas, which could have been a complete teardown, but it was huge. It was 5 bedrooms, and three of the 5 bedrooms were double size, where you could put multiple beds. So, at 5 bedroom, 5 bath, and I was like, this is going to be it. This is going to be my independent home. So I cashed out my retirement to buy and renovate that house. When I told people that I was going to cash out my retirement to do this, everybody said, don't do that. Everybody said, do not cash out your retirement. Don't ever cash out your retirement. So you know what I did? I stopped telling people that I was going to cash out my retirement and what I was going to do. And what I did was I just kept my head down. I cashed out my retirement. I renovated this house. I furnished the house. I held an open house event and opened my first independent co-living home. And it had 15 beds in it. I charged $560 a month each. $560 a month times 15 is $8,400 in gross rents. $8,400 a month in gross rents. So after I did that, I was like, I'm so glad I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't tell people and let them get in my ear and talk me out of my dream because I knew that I could make this work. And after I did that, I had this newfound confidence because I had bet on myself for once and it paid off. So I was so glad that I did not consult with anybody but just me and God. So let's get into the profit potential. So on the left-hand side, I have a single family rental, typical single family rental. And a typical single family rental, let's say you're going to charge somebody $2,000, a family, a person, $2,000 a month to rent this house. And I put the lines on there to show that it's a 4-bedroom. So $2,000. And let's say your mortgage on that house is $1,800. So you're pocketing $200. This is very typical. And actually, sometimes people get into properties where the market rent does not even cover the mortgage because rates are so high right now. So they might have something that where their mortgage is $2,200 a month and they're able to charge $2,000 a month. rent. So this is a typical good scenario where you're pocketing $200 a month. And by the way, when you're pocketing those $200 a month, you're not really, because you have to have a landlord insurance policy, which is usually $150. So you're not making much money at all. And then don't let some appliance go out, like a water heater go out. Now you're not making any money and you're in the red. Excuse me. So let's say you're pocketing 200. Now let's compare that to a co-living house. So with a co-living house, let's say you put 8 beds in the house because you put 2 beds in each room. So 2 beds in each room, and you're charging $500 a month, which is pretty low. That's very, very low. It's not even San Antonio's cheap, and it's actually 500 is way low. It's more like 650 a month in San Antonio. But anyway, let's say 500. So that's $4,000 gross rents. 4,000 gross rents. And then you still have that mortgage for $1,800, remember? So 4,000 minus 1,800 is 2,200. And when you compare 200 to 2,000, what is that? That is 10x. When you compare $200 a month versus $2,000 a month, you're making 10 times the amount of profit on that house. Okay? Hopefully everybody tracked with that. Now let's make it more reasonable rent of 600. So 8 beds times $600 a month, that's $4,800 minus 1,800. Now you're making more than 10x, that's 3,000. 8 beds times 650. This is more reasonable here. Okay, 8 beds times 650, that's 5,200. And remember, that's shared rooms in a 4-bedroom house. And then subtract the 1,800 for the mortgage, that's $3,400 profit. But wait, then you say we are covering the utilities. Yes, I did. We are covering the electric, gas, water, and internet. So even if you deduct the cost of those utilities, you're still bringing in 10 times the amount of a regular single family home at this normal rate of the $650 a month. You're still bringing in 10 times as much money. And like I said, when I opened my first house, it had 15 beds. I started off charging $560 a month per bed. 15 times 560 is 8,400. My mortgage was 2,000. And so deduct 2,000, that brings you down to 6,400. Deduct another 1,000 for utilities, and I'm profiting over $5,000 a month. That's on one property. That's not on a job. That's on one property, $5,000 a month. And then the other thing that a lot of people tell me is, okay, yeah, that's great. The money is great, but I don't want the headache of dealing with that many people. I'd rather just deal with one family that I'm renting out to, or one person I'm renting out to, not 15 people. And I hear you. I also did not want to deal with that many people. So I outsource my headache. And outsourcing comes in the last lesson of my coaching program, which is the autopilot part. I show you how to find and hire and compensate an operations manager, and he gets a cut of the money, and I'm still making plenty of money. And I foresee more working class people moving into co-living as a way to reduce their living costs too. Now, when you're marketing to working class professionals, you can charge more per bed, but they probably will not want to share a bedroom. But maybe they'll pay $1,000 a month for a private room that includes all utilities. And what you can charge depends on where you are in the country. And in my coaching program, I teach you how to do that market research so you can see how much you can realistically charge per bed or per shared room. I mean, per private room. All right, so you are on this call for a reason. Okay, let me see. Okay, thank you. I froze for a quick second, but we're good now. Let me know if it does that again. I don't know what's going on with my internet. Sorry for my my throat too. I need a cough drop. Anyway, you're on this call for a reason. You're ready to bet on you, just like I was ready to bet on me. Maybe you want more income or more time freedom or more family time. Or maybe you want to make a difference in the affordable housing crisis, or you want financial security and a retirement plan that you were in control of, which is what I wanted. I wanted to be in control of my own retirement plan. Everybody was like, no, don't touch your retirement. Don't touch your retirement. But you know what? When you have I don't want to get on a soapbox. When you have your retirement in this plan, other people are in control of your retirement. I wanted to be in control of my retirement. Plus, with what I created, I was making more. That was more than my retirement was going to be. So, and then I ended up going on to opening a second and a third home. And I could easily open more, but right now I'm focused on coaching. But anyway, there are so many reasons that you can open your co-living home. Maybe you already have a side hustle that's too hands-on. Or maybe you have a rental property that's bringing in that pitiful little $200 a month. What is your why? So take a minute and think about your why and also your life vision. So where do you see yourself 1 year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now? And how would having an extra $2,000 a month profit per house, which is what I tell all my coaching clients to plan on, $2,000 a month per house profit. So above and beyond all their expenses. How would having an extra $2,000 a month per house change your life? That's one house. But with what I teach you in my coaching program, you will easily have more than one house. How would it change your life, and how would it change the life of your family and just the trajectory of your entire generations that come after you? Okay, so here's what you came for. This is my proven system to open and operate a profitable co-living home. And how do I know this works? Because I've used this exact model to open all three of my co-living homes in San Antonio while I live in Los Angeles. And I'm about to show you the open house event that my client Kenya had. She signed the lease. By the way, you don't have to buy a house to do this. You can rent a house. I'm going to talk about that. She signed the lease on her property during week 3 of my coaching program when it was a 6-week program. And she had her open house during week 6 of the coaching program. So, and she filled 5 of her 9 beds, by the way, during week 6 of the coaching program. So the first step in setting up your co-living business is reframing your thinking to a CEO mindset. Step 2 is setting up the business and doing that market research that I talked about so you know how much you can realistically charge per bed and per room. Then step 3, you get the property. Step 4 is marketing, which is the absolute most important part, is marketing, because if you don't fill the beds, you don't have a business. Then after that, we're going to set up your day-to-day operations. And then lastly, we'll focus on efficiencies and putting everything on autopilot. So now I'll show you my client Kenya's open house event, real quick clip. It's not going to have any volume for some reason when I show it to you guys. But she went through my coaching program and she opened her first co-living home in Baltimore, Maryland. And now she has opened house number 2 and 3. So let me show you this. And she does not own that house. That was a rental. All right. So the first step in getting your co-living house open is mindset. You have to get your mind right. You need positivity and determination and a CEO mindset. And what is a CEO mindset? That's being strategic, decisive, and growth oriented. It's about knowing you can do this. It's about using a calendar. So many people don't use calendars, but it's about using a calendar, outsourcing the things that you don't need to do on your own, and being obsessed with your win, whatever your win is, and thinking, who can do that for me? Or how can I pay for a shortcut? In my coaching program, I always give you, this is how you do it yourself, and this is how you pay for a shortcut. So I always give you both. And then it's also about systems, not reinventing the wheel. With every task I do, especially if it's something I don't want to do, I ask myself, how can I never do that again? Or how can I make it easier for myself for the next time? Which is why I have so many documented checklists for things and playbooks for things, because I don't want to have to reinvent the wheel ever. And that's the CEO mindset. And also in mindset, we talk about your life vision. So your 1 year, 3 year, 5 year vision for your life and your why. And then step 2 is setting up the business. So that's doing your market research. That's the legal aspects and tracking your expenses and your census, which is the head count in your house, and also your business plan. So having a business plan. And then your market research, there's actually two things for market research. Number one, you're going to look up the cost of properties in the area. So the cost of a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, at least 4 bedrooms and 2-bath home. That's the smallest house I'd advise you to get is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. And then also the cost of a bed in the area. So you can look at places like Roomies, Room Stir, Spare Room, Furnished Finder. There's so many places that you can look. Go to Google, put in your city, and then put rooms for rent. And look up how much does a room cost in your area. How much is a room going for, and how much is a bed going for? And then we have the legal aspects. So that's setting up an LLC. So you don't have to set up an LLC because you're essentially just a landlord. But when you get an LLC, now you're legit. So now you can take advantage of business tax breaks. And you don't have to go legit, like I said, but I recommend to all of my coaching clients that they do get an LLC. You can get a lawyer to do that for you, or you can use Busy, Taylor Brands, or LegalZoom to get your LLC set up. And that's paying for a shortcut. Excuse me. So the biggest tax breaks and business tax deductions are not for employees. They're for business owners. And when you set up your business the right way, you can write off equipment, your phone, your home office, even your business travel. When I travel to check on my houses, that whole trip is a tax deduction. And you can also deduct expenses that you're already paying for. For example, I need internet to run my business. So my internet is a tax deduction. You can also qualify for 100% depreciation on things like computers and vehicles, and you can access special tax credits that are only available to businesses. So that's money right back in your pocket, but only if you know how to take advantage of it. And then the next step is getting the house. So you need to identify viable properties for this business. So what kind of property would be good for this? Like I said, at least 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. If you own the house, take a look at the extra space. Can you put up a wall? Can you make another bedroom? No carpet, no pool, in a nice enough neighborhood, like a C-level neighborhood. And then depending on the demographics of your residents, you may need parking for multiple cars. So my residents don't have cars. Excuse me. Of the 28 residents that I have, 28 beds, 2 of them have cars. So it depends on the people that you house. But if you're housing working professionals, you definitely need space for everyone to park. And also close to public transportation is good, depending again on your demographics. But I need all my houses to be close to public transportation. And they are, except for my third house. My third house actually is not that close to public transportation, but my third house is all seniors and they're not really going anywhere. So it just depends on who you're housing. And then no HOA, so no homeowners association. And it's not because it's illegal. It's not because this is illegal. It's just because they will give you a hard time. Most of the time, the people that you house are protected. They're protected classes of people by Title VIII of the Civil Rights Act of 1968, which is called the Fair Housing Act. So most of the time, the people that we house are protected classes of people. So and by the way, the Fair Housing Act is federal. So that's something that, excuse me, that outweighs the HOA. And also, like I said, you can do this business in a rental. You do not have to buy a house. It's rental arbitrage. That's where you're renting a house from someone who is allowing you to sublease that house to somebody else. So you would contact landlords. I have a script that I give you. I give you the script so you can contact landlords so that you ask them for their permission to be able to sublease the house to other people. And then that's a good way for you to start up your business with low overhead. So that's an easy way for people to get into this business without having a large chunk of money. Because if you're buying an investment property that you're not going to live in yourself, then more than likely you have to put down 20% on this investment property. There are creative ways to finance a property, and that's not my specialty. But you can find local lenders. There's a VA loan if you have access to that. Like I'm a veteran, so I have the VA loan, which is 0% down if I'm going to live in the house. There's also something called the DSCR loan. That's a debt service coverage ratio, and that measures a business's cash flow relative to the debt obligation. So if you can prove that this house is going to make this much money, but the mortgage is only this much money, then you may be able to get a DSCR loan for that. So again, that's not my specialty, but you can definitely talk to someone who specializes in creative financing so you can get a property. Or you can use my landlord pitch script and just talk to a landlord who will allow you to sublease the property to other people. And you can always use OPM, other people's money. And then there's partnerships too. So you bring the knowledge to the table and somebody else brings the money to the table. So you could do something like that as well. Okay. So marketing. This one is the absolute most important step. If you don't fill the bids, then you don't have a business. And how do you find the right residents? You're going to connect with caseworkers, placement agents, and directly with people who need housing, especially if you're doing housing for working professionals. I go over in my coaching program all of the different marketing materials, how to do a $50 open house event, how to batch your work and do a whole year of emails in one day, and what platforms to post on, and exactly how to post on them and what words to use. In my coaching program, I actually give you 101 different ways to fill your bids. I got a question for you now. If you're able to participate and you're not working, do you think you can find 8 people in your chosen city who are willing to share a room and pay one all inclusive low rate for their monthly rent? Do you think you can find 8 people in your city who would be who would be willing to do that? If you think you can, I don't see any answers, but if you think you can, then you're right. And if you think you cannot, then you will not. You will not find those people to fill your beds. But I give you all the ways that you can find people to fill your beds. So now we've covered 4 of the 6 steps, and I am explaining at a very, okay, Noemi, thank you. I love that. Yes, there's definitely a need. There's definitely a need. Actually, when I had my open house, my second open house event, well, the first open house event, police came, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe police are here. I was so nervous. They just wanted to take a look. They didn't say anything. The second time I had an open house event, the constable came, which is like a sheriff kind of. The constable came, it's from San Antonio, and she actually gave me an award in front of the people who came to the open house event for helping the city with affordable housing. And here I was nervous, thinking, oh my gosh, they're going to say something about what I'm doing. They're going to say it's illegal. Oh, she gave me an award. She gave me a coin. Actually, I have it over here. But anyway, she gave me a coin and said that I was doing a great thing for the city of San Antonio. So don't be scared, and you can definitely do this. And there are people who are willing to share rooms. Don't think about what you would do. Like, I wouldn't want to share a room with someone, but I'm not sleeping in my car, or I'm not in a shelter with 50 other people sharing one shower head. So there are people who are like, you know what, this is great. It's clean, it's safe, and I only have one other person in my room. This is wonderful. So there are people who are willing to do that. Okay, so we've covered 4 of the 6 steps. I am explaining at a surface level right now, but I know that someone here in this masterclass wants to dive deeper and is interested in my coaching program. So, excuse me, I'm going to take a few minutes. Uh oh, uh oh. Somehow I got booted. You guys there? Okay, you guys are there. I just need to start sharing my screen again. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on. There's something in the air today. Something in the air today. I tell you, we just had a death in our family last night, and so I hear the kids don't know, but I think they just found out because I hear them wailing. So this is it's a weird day. I'll tell you that. Okay, thanks, Ron. I appreciate that. Can you guys see my slides? Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, I actually turned on my white noise machine, so hopefully you guys can't hear that because I'm trying to focus here and not think about how sad the children are right now. Okay, so you can see my slides. Great. Okay, so this, like I said, may not be for everyone. It might be perfect for somebody who's here. I have a startup intensive. I used to call it my startup intensive because it was a 6 week program, but I've actually extended it to 90 days. So it's now my elite launch. But anyway, this is what is offered. I'm going to give you all of the templates and scripts and the checklists. You'll also have direct access to me and a customized to-do list. And we have an online course that you would have 12-month access to. And remember, this is so that this will bring you a property business on the side of your day job that brings you an extra $2,000 a month for you and your family, and more time and energy for the things that matter to you. All right, let me move on to the next slide. So the first thing we focus on in my coaching program is getting the house, because we need to secure the right property and set it up correctly, because most people jump into this thinking that any house will work, but it won't. Any house will work for this, but it's not going to give you the profit that I want you to get, which is $2,000 a month profit. So I'll show you how to identify properties with at least 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, near public transportation, and with landlord. You want to partner with landlords who are tired of traditional rental property headaches. So you want to find tired landlords so that they will allow you to sublease the property if that's the route you want to take. So with my landlord pitch script, I give you exactly what to say to these potential landlords so they'll allow you to sublease their property. And remember, if you pick the wrong property or you set up your business incorrectly, you're going to be dealing with stuff like renovations or HOA complaints and not be able to take advantage of business tax deductions. So this is the foundation. This is the foundation here. Identifying the right property, getting the property, whether you're buying it or renting it, and then setting up your business correctly and getting that business bank account, EIN number, DUNS number, etc. That's the foundation. Then the next thing we're going to focus on, once you have the right property secured and you have it set up for shared living, the next thing we want to focus on is marketing, because what you won't have is a steady pipeline of qualified residents who can actually pay you rent and not cause you problems. So I'll give you my demand pipeline activation system, which is just a fancy way of saying we're going to build up your network before you even finish setting up the house. Okay. So you're going to optimize your LinkedIn profile. I'll give you scripts of exactly what to say to caseworkers and social workers and how to find those people online. And I'll also give you a 14-day outreach plan so you'll know exactly what to do with your marketing so you can connect with organizations and people who are going to fill your beds, especially if you're going to do shared bedrooms. So shared bedrooms are harder to fill than private rooms, but shared bedrooms maximize your profit. And they can be done if you reach out to the right people and the right organizations. So you'll get my caseworker outreach scripts because, again, those are the people who work with the demographics that you want. And they're actively looking for quality housing options for their clients. And remember, you're paying rent or mortgage and utilities and setup costs, whether you have paying residents or not. So every day those beds sit empty, you're bleeding money. Okay, so we have to fill those beds. That's why marketing is so important. And that's why I stress marketing so much. I give you 101 ways. Like I said, I give you 101 ways to fill your beds in my coaching program. I give you proven call scripts, email scripts. I'm going to help you turn those caseworkers into referral partners. Plus, I give you a 1-day open house event plan that can fill multiple beds in a single day. Okay, and then Also, I'm going to show you how to screen and place residents from stable segments, like people who receive SSI and SSDI. Those are the people who have guaranteed monthly income. They just need affordable housing because they have this low check that they get. They might get $800 or $900 a month. With that, they can't get their own apartment because the apartment might be that full check and they still have to eat and they still need a bus pass. And so they can't do, and they have utilities. So if you get people who have a low check like that, who are single, and because I just do single adults, you if you want to do women and children or something like that, you can. That's a demographic you could house, but you can house those people for, let's say, $650 a month in a shared bedroom, and now they still have extra money for their food and their bus pass, and that $650 also covers their utilities. So those are the kinds of people who are willing to share a room because it's just them and they just need an affordable place to live. And all they have is this small check. So those are the types of people that I help you to find and reach out to. All right, lastly, so now once you have the right property set up and you have the steady pipeline of quality residents, here's what you still won't have. You won't have the systems to run the business without it taking over your whole life. So a lot of people think once they get the residents in that they're done, but that's when they start getting calls at all hours of the night about the house issues or dealing with roommate conflicts or chasing down rent payments and basically becoming a full-time house manager instead of a business owner. So if you're stuck managing every little detail of house number one, then you can never scale to house number two. And one property making $2,000 a month is nice, but it's not going to give you that financial freedom that you're probably looking for. So what we do is give you our operations autopilot system that turns your shared housing business into a more hands-off income stream. It is not passive. I will tell you, it is not passive, but it's more hands-off income stream. And you'll get our house manager options and onboarding workflows that handle 90% of day-to-day operations without you. I show you how to set up automated payment systems, maintenance protocols, and conflict resolution processes. I teach you standard operating procedures so the house runs smoothly, whether you're there or not. Everything I've collected over the past 6 years of running my 3 co-living homes from afar, I give all of that to you in a digital workbook. So you can just take those forms and change them up to the way you like and put your own name on it and put your own logo on it. So you'll have all of your documentation already done because I've already put it together for you in the workbook. Then if you decide you want to step back even further from your business, then I teach you exactly what to look for in an operations manager. And here's the best part. Once you have property number one up and running on autopilot and hitting target occupancy, you will know exactly how to duplicate this model for property number two. Okay, who is this for? Who's a good fit for my program? Maybe you want to start investing in real estate, but you just don't know how. Or you're a social entrepreneur. Maybe you want to do good for society and also do well for yourself, or you want to do something meaningful for your city and your country and the world. Or you already have real estate, but you want to get better returns on your investment. So there are so many reasons that if you're on this call, this program is for you. Okay. Also, real quick, the American Society of Training and Development did a study. They said people who write down their goals privately and don't mention their goals to anyone are not likely to reach their goals. But when you announce your goal to a coach or a trusted friend, now you're 65% more likely to achieve your goal. But when you give a weekly progress report to a coach, now you're 95% more likely to achieve your goal. So it's really crucial that you build a support system, and accountability is a huge part of my Elite Launch coaching program, is the accountability piece. So if you're serious about opening your co-living home, you really need that accountability, whether it's from me or from someone else, but I'd love to be your coach. Okay, so myths. Let's do some myth busting. So I need to own a house to have a group home. That's a false belief. You can definitely rent a house. Do you think every doctor who owns a building that they work out of, they don't? You just need to find a willing landlord. And remember, my client, Kenya, she does not own that house. In my network, I have a business who specializes, I don't have a business, but I know of a business that specializes in finding properties and willing landlords for group homes. So that's a way you could pay for a shortcut. Just pay this other company to find the willing landlord for you. Or you could use the script that I give you. I hear this one all the time because of the demographic that I house. Homeless people don't have income. Actually, a lot of homeless people receive Social Security money or VA money. They just don't have enough money to get their own place. Plus, more and more working class people are actually going to consider co-living in the future as well. My residents are on Social Security and other types of welfare. And like I said, I do foresee more working class people going into co-living as a way to reduce their monthly living costs. Running a group home will be a full-time job, not the way I teach it. I focus on efficiencies and working on the business, not in the business. And I teach you how to pay for shortcuts every step of the way. And then for filling the beds, I teach you how to fill the beds. And if you do what I tell you to do in the coaching program and you have the belief that you will fill the beds, you will absolutely fill the beds. And my client, Kenya, filled 5 of her 9 beds in 1 week. Here are some client success stories, and in the interest of time, I'm going to skip over. And by the way, Janice and Kenya are both featured on my YouTube channel if you would like to see what they have to say about my coaching program. Okay, so I have 2 options for the coaching program. In the self-paced option, you get lifetime access, actually not lifetime, sorry. You get 12-month access, 12-month access to video modules where I'm teaching you exactly how to open your own profitable co-living business. You also get that digital workbook I mentioned with the template, scripts, and SOPs, the 14-day marketing outreach plan, and the open house event plan. You also have access to an online community on a platform called School, SKOOL, where you can ask questions and talk to other people on their co-living journey. School is free, by the way. So if you go on school, SKOOL.com, and look up group home on autopilot community, you can join the school group today if you'd like to. And this option does not come with one-on-one coaching, but it is everything you need. This is everything you need to open your group home right here. And the self-paced option is $19.97. It's $19.97. And there's Klarna and there's Afterpay. Okay, so if you're interested in doing a payment plan, a special payment plan, you could do Klarna or Afterpay. I also have my own payment plan that I offer. Klarna and Afterpay, I believe, check your credit. My payment plan does not check your credit. This is 3 payments of $747. So you'll see the total investment does come out to $2241 versus this $1997 paid in full for the opportunity to do this payment plan, $747 a month for 3 months. So that's the self-paced coaching program. Now we get to the Elite Launch program. This is the one that is everything that's in the self-paced program. Plus, you also get 90 days of coaching with me. So we have every other week, so there's 6 calls total. Every other week for 90 days, we're going to meet one-on-one. Me and you are going to meet one-on-one. Talk about what your goals are, what you're doing, what your status is of all of your to-do list. I give you a customized to-do list with deadlines. So we have these private calls bi-weekly for 90 days. Plus, during the 90 days, you also have a weekly office hours. That's another opportunity to talk to me. So I'm available on Wednesday afternoons, and you can drop in and ask me questions if you like. It's basically a group coaching call that I have every Wednesday. You're invited to that for the 90 days. And during the 90 days, you also have access to a private Slack channel. That's where you can ask me anything. You can send me anything at any time, any question, any file to look at, any video to look at any time, and I get back to you within 24 hours. So this one is everything you need. Plus, there is the extra accountability piece. This is where I'm following up with you and asking you about the things you have to do to get your doors open and fill your beds, okay, during the 90 days. So this one, excuse me, I want you to book a call. If you're interested in this one, book a call with me because I want to make sure that you are a right fit for the program. So there's a QR code on your screen. And then also, Angelica has put in the chat box how to book a call with me. So book a call if you're interested in this one, or if you don't know which one you should sign up for. If you're kind of torn on the self-paced versus the elite launch, book a call with me and we can talk about it. And I don't charge for the call as of today. So book a call with me and we will talk about it. All right. And remember, this is so that you can profit $2,000 a month per house for the rest of your life or for however long you decide to have this business. So again, here's the QR code to book a call with me. And if I taught you how to profit $2,000 a month for the rest of your life, how much would that be worth to you? It's rhetorical. You don't have to answer that one. But remember, you can either pay for mentorship or you can pay for mistakes. Okay? Because implementation requires that you pay and you choose which one you want to pay for. You want to pay for mistakes, you want to pay for mentorship. I paid a lot in mistakes. So I asked you to pay for mentorship, whether it's from me or from somebody else. Just pay for mentorship because execution is what's important. Okay. You can get the knowledge all day long watching YouTube University, but execution beats knowledge every day of the week. Okay. When you execute, that's when you start making the money. You actually have to take those steps. All right. Now, let's get back to the last two steps. Again, I've got the QR code on the screen here for if you want to book a call. So we have already talked about the mindset, setting up the business, getting the house, and the marketing. But what about the day-to-day? So that's the next step. That's the operations part. This is the intake, setting expectations and the house rules and the common challenges and ways to collect rents. And how do you pay for a shortcut for this step? I've already documented all the operations. The house rules, intake questionnaire, lease agreement, membership agreement, licensing agreement, house signage, everything is in the digital workbook. So whether you get the self-paced option or the elite launch program, you get all of the things that you need to operate this business. Okay. So now you've got the house open, you fill the beds, you're pocketing money every month. So now what? Now we need to turn this business into a well-oiled machine and we need to scale it. So let's get to the top of the pyramid and what makes group home on autopilot different from every other group home training that's out there. The last step is the autopilot step. So this is the scaling. Once you get through the hard knocks and the learning curve, and it is a steep learning curve of opening your first home will be the hardest. You'll feel it and you will be ready for your next one. You're going to be ready for your next house. But how do you do this? And how do you do this remotely? I'm going to give you my toolkit and my tech stack. So you're going to use resources and tools that make your life easier. I will give you a full list of the tools that I use and how I use them to make this a very simple, I won't say easy, but make this a simple side hustle. And I know I interviewed somebody recently on my YouTube. She's like, I hate side hustle. Don't say side hustle. A simple business to run. So I'm going to give you your weekly and monthly actions, how you hire an operations manager, which is basically hiring another you. So you're going to hire someone who, can be the boots on the ground and basically run the day to day. And I give you exactly what those duties would be that they would be responsible for, where to find this person, how to train this person, and how to pay this person. I'll also have to teach you how to handle accounting in a very systemized way. So now I've covered all the steps. Congratulations. I've covered all the steps to take you from A to Z and open your own profitable co-living home. And hopefully you've gotten something out of this class. And again, if you are interested in the Elite Launch coaching program, go ahead and book a call with me. Either use the QR code that's on your screen or use the link that is in the chat box. Okay. And here's the QR code again. And, remember, people always say knowledge is power, but really it's knowledge plus action is where the power lies. I used to think that if I had the knowledge that I could do it, but after stumbling for a while, I did end up paying for a coach. When I first started my first home, I did pay for a coach, and that was a great idea. The only problem was that coach had never opened a group home before. You have to make sure you get the right coach. You got to make sure you get the right mentor, somebody who can actually help you and who's been there, done that, still doing it. I found out later, and I've been doing a lot of research on just leadership and just running businesses and all of the entrepreneurship and things like that. And I've learned that the people who are successful ask who, not just how, because you have to ask how. Like, how can I get there? How can I afford that? Not, I can't afford that. How can I afford that? But pros ask who, not how. Like, who would be the best coach? Not just, I need to get a coach. So that's where I went wrong. So learn from my mistakes and just make sure that you get yourself a mentor, whether it's me or someone else. And in closing, think back to that vision you have for your life. Where do you see yourself a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now? Because I want to help you get there. If you're still here on the call with me, then something is resonating with you. So use the link in the chat and start your course or book a call with me. Okay. And thank you for joining. I am going to take Q&A now. So I'll stop sharing my screen and then we will take some questions and answers. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, yep. Okay. Oh, thank you, Noemi. Okay, Noemi said, I signed up for your self-paced program less than 2 weeks ago, and it gave me the courage to take action. I toured houses this past weekend, made an offer on a house and made it. Wait, made an offer on a house and made an offer. Although my offer was not accepted, you've helped me feel ready and I took action. Yes. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Let me find where's my reactions. Yeah. You took action and I'm very, very excited. Noemi, keep me updated on what's going on with you and the self-paced courses. I want to hear what you're going through and what's, if anything's missing from the course. I'd love to hear that. I love to get feedback because then I make changes based on the feedback. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions. So I will give you all time back. And again, thank you. Thank you so much for spending time with me this morning or this afternoon, wherever you're joining from. I sincerely appreciate you. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm very accessible. I'm on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. I'm everywhere. I'm on TikTok. So reach out to me and let me know if you have any questions on anything. And also, you're on my email list probably. And if you're not, you will be soon. So when you're on my email list, whenever you get an email from me, you can, whether it's a marketing email or just a regular email, you can always reply back to those and those come directly to me. So just reply back to me and let me know what's on your mind. Okay. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you. Bye-bye.